Well, social media was alive yesterday with reaction to this game. I'm joined now by News4Jax sportscaster Alessandra Pontbriand. And, the score 28-23 does not tell the story. This game was bananas.
Yeah, it was crazy. First, I would say first half definitely kind of beginning of the third quarter, it was all Eagles. They were just running all over the Jaguars, but then they picked it up and like we've said or like we've seen before this season, they were able to rally late, but then it wasn't, good enough for a win. They've lost 5 games by 5 points or fewer. They have 7 total losses. Obviously the Bills blowout was not good. The Bears, they lost by it was 9 or 10 points, but 5 points or fewer isn't horrible if you look at it from, glass half full or whatever the good term is, but yeah, it's still, you have 7 total losses, so this isn't great.
So there were some highlights. Not all of them were the Eagles, but largely. So for people who didn't see, there was this extraordinary catch Devontae Smith did
Yeah.
for a touchdown
Mhm.
that I think had everybody just kind of blown away.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So Jalen Hurts passed to Devontae Smith in the back of the end zone. He caught it like one-handed grab, was able to somehow get both feet in, which I was shocked about. Yeah, that was a really good play. I think that was over Ronald Darby too. That's just who he is. He's going to get those touchdowns. He's a really good receiver. I actually went to school with him and Jalen Hurts, and they were doing that same thing in college at the University of Alabama. So he's just a freak of an athlete. So you kind of that one, you're like, okay, well, you know what? That's just who he is. So he's able to do that. But Saquon Barkley also in the beginning of in the first half, he shut off one defender and then he was spinning. And while he was spinning, he jumped backwards over an entire defender. That play went crazy on social media. And that's just who Saquon Barkley is. He's one of the best running backs in the league because, stuff like that.
I had to watch that clip, like, so many times just to figure out how that was even
No,
possible.
I know,
I mean, so he's
right?
backwards and he jumps up and surmounts, like, the tackler. It just is like it's like a gymnastic move.
And mind you, while they're running full speed too, so when he's spinning around, you kinda lose, like, what gymnasts say, they kinda lose their perspective. He's kinda losing his perspective, and then just having, like, the instant reaction just to jump over this is a grown man. He's jumping over an entire man. I mean, he was a little bent over the defender, but still, yeah, that was a crazy play.
Um, so Barkley also had a major mess up that benefited the
Yeah.
Jaguars, on a fumble, and it was a really controversial call.
Yeah, so what the ref after they asked the ref after
Remind us what
what
happened
happened.
for people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Saquon Barkley had the ball. Ventrell Miller was trying to tackle him, and I guess they said that his fingers just brushed him, which started him to fall. But he hit his teammate, number 69. I'm not sure who that is, but his teammate 69, and then he fell, and then the ball came out. So Trayvon Walker came up, scooped it up, and ran 35 yards for the touchdown. Um, the ref was saying that if Ventrell Miller touched him still and he fell, it would have been down, but he touched that wasn't the initial thing that I guess that they thought he fell down for. They thought him hitting the number 69 and then falling was the reason why he fell, and that's why the ball came out.
And what's the
So
difference? I mean, why does that matter?
well, if Ventrell Miller touched him and he fell, that would have been, quote unquote, like a tackle basically because a defender took him down. But this time they're saying him hitting his teammate was the reason why he really fell and the ball came out. So
As
then
opposed to
that would
being
just be
tackled,
basically
and so it would
that
be a
was a hard
fumble as
play.
opposed to a
It's just going down.
yeah,
Yeah.
wow. And that was a good news for the Jags. It really brought them much closer, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, they scored 2 touchdowns in, like, 4 seconds on the game clock because of that. I mean, that's 14 points that you're coming back from down 22 points, and they were so close, and then Trevor Lawrence threw, unfortunately, a pick in the end zone to Nakobe Dean, a former Georgia Bulldog, and, that solidified their win. They had about, a minute and a half, I think, left on the game clock, but, it was first down, why not try to throw it up to Dearness Johnson over a linebacker? I thought it was a pretty good matchup, and Kobe Dean is, Kobe Dean, those Georgia Bulldogs, really good.
Are you seeing any overall themes here? Is there kind of a explanatory thread between these losses?
Yeah, I mean, starting quickly is or starting fast is what they like to say. They aren't doing that. And then they're able to rally late, which is good. It shows that they're still in it, they're still fighting, but you gotta start fast. You have to score at least something in the first quarter. You gotta get out to a lead at first. And then, if you're trailing it, you just have to be able to overcome that deficit. And that's what we're not seeing. That's why they're losing by close games, but they're still losing.
Yeah. Well, Alessandra Pontbriand, it's not a great Monday. It's not a victory Monday, but it's always good to see you.
I know. Thanks, guys. Hopefully next week. They host the Vikings this Sunday at 1 p.m.
All right. Alessandra Pontbriand from News4Jax, thanks so much for being here.